any space can be saved. I always say, no matter how bad a space is, there's a best possible way to this particular space. So I am from Singapore. I was born in Singapore. I'm 36 years old this year. And I've always wanted to be an architect since I was young. You know, like when you're a kid, you are interested in something. I'm one of those nerds who was interested in buildings and architecture and interiors. From a young age, I started drawing stuff. And so that's the architectural aspect of it. And at the same time, my family was kind of very interested in Feng Shui. My granddad was a Feng Shui master, actually. Like when they chose their home, for example, they would check with him, oh, where's the best place to have your home? And I found Feng Shui quite an interesting thing because in Singapore or in Southeast Asia, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore, Malaysia, Feng Shui is very kind of widely practiced. It's not like China. Although Feng Shui originated from China, it is not as widely practiced as it is in Hong Kong and Singapore and Malaysia. In Singapore, you'll see all these interesting examples of Feng Shui happening, how buildings are positioned in a certain way and the story behind it, and it fascinated me so much. And that's what got me started at a really, really young age, this combination of both architecture and Feng Shui. Feng Shui is like the ancient Chinese practice of being aware of your environment and creating the best possible environment for your things. Like back then, 3,000 years ago, imagine you had a big piece of land and you wanted to build a house or something. So you would where do you even start? So you have your advisors who tell you, okay, you have to look at the sun, where the mountains are, where the river is. And given all these things, you would kind of compile all the information and put your home in the best possible space. Of course, nowadays, we're not building homes in the middle of nowhere. So we kind of break it down and look at our bedrooms and our living rooms and how to position ourselves, our desks, our bed in the best way so that we feel protected, we feel comfortable, and we feel good in general. There's Feng Shui, there's Vastu Sastra in India. There's different cultures and different practices, but it's all about like being aware of your surroundings and acknowledging all these bits and pieces, where the sun is, where the wind is blowing, where the light is coming from, and just putting yourself in the best possible way. So there's a bit of psychology behind it. Like if I place you in a very busy room, you will feel less settled because there's noise, there's movement. If I put you in a nice quiet room, you can sleep better. So it is a combination of many, many factors. So Feng Shui is everywhere. You know, like people take it really seriously. Like they would not buy a house because the Feng Shui is bad. Even if it fits their budget, great views, great everything, but if the Feng Shui, something about it is off, they would rather not take it because there's too much risk. It's going to ruin your life. So they will not buy that. And yes, so I'm a trained architect. I started in Singapore I went to the Singapore Polytechnic to train as a draftsperson, and then I moved to London to like continue my studies at the Architectural Association. And I graduated and I got my Part 3. So now I'm a practicing architect in the UK, not Singapore. So I'm registered here, and because this is where I'm living at the moment. After I graduated, after I got my Part 3, I set up my practice, Dear Modern, which I did little houses and small projects. I would never mention Feng Shui. I would just design people's houses as they wanted. It would comply to Feng Shui. None of them would actually break any rules. They will always feel nice, but I never explicitly say, oh, because of Feng Shui, we're doing this and that. I didn't want to like scare people off, or so I thought. Because it sounded a bit woohoo, and I'm in the West, nobody understands it. And so I would just be an architect, have the information in my mind, and just design accordingly. And then the pandemic hit. Okay, so things slowed down and I was taking a break. That's fine. I was on TikTok all the time, enjoying videos because TikTok grew at that time. And I went back to Singapore. Because it was a pandemic, you have to be quarantined in the hotel for 2 weeks. And so I was in Singapore for 2 weeks in the hotel on TikTok with nothing to do. And that was when I started my channel. And I wanted to do a channel about like something I knew. So I thought, architecture, but it's a bit dry. So I thought, okay, let's try Feng Shui. Let's just tell people where to put your bed according to Feng Shui. You know, no harm try. And when I made that video, it went viral straight away. And it made me realize that, people are actually open to the concept. They're listening. They want to learn. And that was when I started my channel about Feng Shui. I am not a social media person. Like, I got Instagram at such a late age. I wasn't someone who was always posting stuff. I'm quite. And so the whole reason I wanted to post on TikTok was because back then TikTok was still a growing community and everyone was making something. I was like, oh, this is so interesting. I want to contribute because I received so much from it. And so I was not prepared to be viral. And straight away, I got viral like day 2 of my quarantine. So for the next 12 days, I was just like churning out videos, whatever I can create with what limited resources I had. And like one after another, people were like asking for more. And so I just got into the hang of it and the rest is history. I just kept making videos. I'm trying to be a fun teacher. You know, when you go to school and then you're like studying, learning something like mathematics or something dry like that. When you have a teacher that's really exciting, you kind of wake up and you want to listen more. It makes your day more exciting. And so I'm just trying to take this very dry concept and make it easily memorable. I really want you guys to learn. So it's not just making videos. I really want you to actually get it in your head, the concept behind it. And so I try to add a bit of interest, add a new way to see things, be it sketches, moving furniture around, or even live examples, just so that it actually gets into you. I was an architect with clients and you work with clients, and so many people kept asking me how to fix their rooms. And so I asked my followers what should I do, and some of them suggested, oh, why don't you start a consultation page? People can book you. And so I started a website where people can book a session with me and I'll talk about their room. Very, very cheap, just half an hour, 1 hour sessions, and we meet. And that totally got booked over, non-stop. And now I no longer do the architectural work. I only meet clients one-off like that, like a Feng Shui GP. And I just see people one-off basis. And yeah, it's been going on since now, and I've just been booked always 4 months ahead, 5 months ahead usually. But what's nice is that because I get to meet so many people in such a short amount of time, it really gave me a lot of experience, an insight of the world. Like till now, to date, I've seen about 4,000 clients already from all over the world. So that gives me a nice a snapshot of the world, or at least the world who have seen me, like of how people live in different countries and how they differ. And it gave, like, I thought I knew stuff back then, but I realized how little did I know until now, after seeing so many people's homes and their lives, that I really learned a lot from them. There are cultural differences here and there. For example, some people might have preference, like East Asian people, we love money. So we have focus on the money corner, we have focus on the career. We put a bigger priority on the things that bring fortune in our homes, and we will do whatever it takes to become rich. So it's a bit different from other cultures. And also like cultural expectations of the size of a space. Like someone in Hong Kong might be very happy with a bed stuck to the wall, little single size, whereas someone in America, in the middle of America, they are used to something much bigger, large bedroom. Not even America, like even in the Middle East, they are much used to very large bedrooms, very big beds, lots of space around it. So what might seem okay in London, 4 meter by 4 meter bedroom, is actually tiny in the Middle East. And so that's another cultural difference. Another thing is the environment of where you geographically are. If you are in Southeast Asia, where I'm from, west is very hot sun, it's too strong, we don't like it at all. But in like maybe somewhere in Scandinavia, they would like the nice evening sunshine, the sunset, or even some for Australia, like in Feng Shui, we look at the compass a lot, north, south, east, west, and the north is where it's considered the cooler side, and south is where the sun is normally. That's the Feng Shui term. But in Australia or South Africa, everything's inverted, where north is where the sun is shining all day long. So we kind of take into account all these things and realize that the environment does play a part. Okay, so the most Feng Shui answer to answer that is a pet is a source of energy. So a pet is a source of energy. It's a lively thing. It moves around. You interact with your pet. It is a source of energy. Whether it's a good or bad energy, that's another question. If you see the pet as someone who gives you love, affection, company, of course it's a wonderful piece of energy. If the pet belongs to your partner and you hate it, like you see smells, pee, poo, and fur everywhere, it becomes a source of bad energy. Sometimes when it comes to energy, it's all in your head, how you associate with it. Which the good thing is that it means that you can turn bad energy into good energy by creating a better association with it. I mean, you are having a pet for a reason, right? You want that companionship. You want to see the thing. Maybe it's a fish. You want to see the beautiful fish tank. But if you don't take care of your fish tank, it starts to go moldy and dirty, and the fish starts to die and float above. It becomes bad energy suddenly. It's not giving you what you wanted from it. So, good energy creates good energy. So, I think pets are a good thing if you can appreciate them, maintain them, keep them happy, and then they'll make you happy. I've done all sorts of homes, small homes, big homes. The small ones, one of the small ones was a video that actually went viral, which was a family of 5, where I tried to squeeze them in a little room. So that was quite interesting, where I learned about their situation. I was in disbelief myself and realized that, okay, they're not joking, we have to fit 5 of you, your mom, dad, and 3 kids, 3 big kids, 10, 11 years old kids, into a single room for at least 2 years while they find a new house. So we had to find a way. I mean, you can't just say that, you know what, it's impossible. Too bad. Move on. We need to find a bigger house. That's what they've got. So we have to work with the constraints. We have to be empathetic. You have to understand them. Like, okay, they are used to making compromises, but let's make it not so bad. So we try to find the best possible way to fit them all in. I did this concept where we terraced the beds, so everyone has a little piece of the sky. We're not on bunk beds, and putting the parents at the further end of the room so they get the privacy that they want, and the kids towards the door with a nice projector screen so they get the entertainment that they want, and they can go in and out of the room. On the other end of the spectrum, I have this huge house where this lady was kind of it's interesting because, like, the house was too big and she was living alone, and she felt paralyzed in her own home because she would be on the ground floor in the large living room, and when the sun sets, it becomes night. She couldn't have the energy to move herself to her bedroom. It was too far away. The bedroom was too far away, and you're paralyzed in the living room on your couch, and she would sleep on her couch. She would not sleep in her bedroom because it felt so far, it was so daunting. There was something that prevented her from moving across. For a case like that, you must really empathize with her and understand what is going on. Why does she feel that way? Put yourself in her shoes. If I put you in a very large house and there's all dark corridors from the living room to your bedroom, and here you are in your living room all by yourself, lots of echoes around, you would not want to make that journey to your bedroom. You just stick on your couch with your TV, turn off the TV, and fall asleep right there. So we have to come up with a solution that, you have so many rooms. Let's create a daytime living room and an evening living room. By 4 p.m., go on to your evening living room next to your bedroom, watch your TV over there. So not all things are that straightforward from a Feng Shui book. Sometimes you have to understand the situation and create solutions there and then.
Hi, and welcome to Deep.
We're a brand new channel from the team behind such shows as
Agree to Disagree, Minutes Within the Gap, to name a few.
And now we've launched this new channel to keep telling stories.
And we love to hear what you think. So if there's a particular person you want to hear from, a particular theme that you want us to cover, please drop us a comment, and also like and subscribe for more.
We really hope you're enjoying the channel, and if you are, we've just launched a brand new Patreon account with all sorts of extra content.
Early access, extra videos, behind the scenes clips, and even merch. If that sounds good to you, then check out the link in our description.
Thank you, hit that subscribe button, and now back to our story.
You have to be in the command position. So you have to sit in a space that you feel secure, or sleep in a space that you feel secure. So you would never sit or work on your desk with a big opening behind you, with the door behind you, for example. Because you feel like, watched. If I'm on my computer surfing my internet, people can see what's on my screen. That will make me feel vulnerable. So you want to kind of sit facing them so you can see them coming in, yet they can't see what you are doing. For example, so that is like the command position. You also have this concept of qi, like the energy around you. Energy is energy. There's good, there's bad energy. Okay, there's no such thing as good or bad energy. Energy is just energy. It's just whether is it good for you or not. Like, for example, a very quiet room is great for sleeping, but it's not good for opening a shop. When you have a business, you want to sell coffee, you want to be in a very, very busy, bustling place. So the people and the rushing is a form of energy. Nobody's saying it's good or bad, it's whether it suits you or not. So it's understanding the energy around you, whether you have heavy things hanging above you or not. There's a big chandelier dangling above you, or is the big chandelier dangling above the dining table in front of you. So things like that will affect how you feel as well. When someone meets me, there's always a problem. They're never happy. Okay, there's something wrong. Okay, that's the whole reason why we are meeting. So there's something wrong. And sometimes you just need to understand, see what's going on with their lives. They might say that the problem is A, but actually the problem is B, which they don't even realize. Then you can kind of pick up from that. A lot of the times, not a lot, sometimes when people book me, it's like they just feel unhappy and they see making the booking with me as one of the actions that they can take. You know, sometimes you feel like I need to do something. I need to do something about it. And Booking Cliff is doing something about it. Any space can be saved. I always say, no matter how bad a space is, there's a best possible way to this particular space. Like, it might not be the best option, but it's still the best possible way. It's just finding the best way to deal with the space until we can move on. For this particular person, however, it was not about how to make her space nice. It's that she had a lot of memories associated with the space that was not to her liking. There was lots of bad memories, and you can't erase something like that. Like, even if the space was fabulous, all these things, like you look at the bed and I had a bad night with my partner many years ago, you can't forget things like that. So you keep making associations. So it's either you forget that, or if you can't forget, which I decided for her that she, based on what we discussed, she is not able to let go of all the mental associations, it's best to actually leave. Sometimes it's as easy as, not all the time you have to actually move home. Sometimes you have to just shift your furniture around. And this is when it gets interesting. Sometimes their bed is already in the best Feng Shui spot. And in order to leave that kind of trap of memories, you have to move your bed in a spot that's maybe not as good Feng Shui wise. So you realize that it's about making priorities, which is the best move to make, even if it makes compromises. Everything comes with a compromise. It's choosing the right compromise to make. The most annoying one is when people try to do Feng Shui. They like, this is when I feel bad sometimes. I say, okay, never, like, one of the rules, for example, I will say, never point your back towards the door when you work. Try to be able to see the door. Then people would take it so literally, they would literally put their desk facing the door right in front of them. And that is not good. That is too much energy. So very often I will have to tell them, I get what you're doing, but you're kind of taking it overboard. We need to pull it back a bit. And like, it's not just, the rule is not all about you have to face the door. It's about not having the door behind you. And so things like that will help me kind of help me find solutions for them. You know, people work from home, right? And they don't like their work. So they will put their desk in the most nondescript location, hidden away, tucked away, because they don't like their work. They don't want to see their work at the end of the day. But this is kind of a mistake, because yes, you hate your work. Of course, everybody hates their job, but it doesn't mean that you're not spending any time on it. You hate your job, but you're still 8 hours a day on your desk. So you have to acknowledge that and create a good environment for you during those 8 hours. Painful as it is, you have to kind of feel good while you are doing the thing that you hate. Because very often we are clouded by this image of a nice interior, and so we forget that actually the layout is most important. So like, maybe the bed is in the totally wrong position, but the room looks amazing, looks beautiful, great for the camera, but not great for the person actually sleeping in that. There was one home, this was not an MTV thing, it was Dua Lipa's home in London. Okay, so she was building a home and I was looking at the floor plans. It's all available in public domain. Okay, so I was looking at the floor plans, and the bed in the master bedroom was just in a very weird spot. So I couldn't help but mention that, you know, it's a weird spot. It's a beautiful home, nice big closet. But if your bed is kind of in the path of all the entrances, you're not going to sleep well. It's all about feeling good in your space. So before you look into all this decorative, decor, nice, pretty things, you have to kind of get the bed, like the position of the vital things right. I have celebrity clients, but I normally keep their information very secret. Like, privacy is very important, but not just celebrities. That are like even more. I have looked in state homes and palaces too. I just remembered. Okay, so for one of the palaces, the house was so big, but they had a few kids, and one of the kids was delegated to a different building. And I'm like, you can't put your son in another building. You need to be in the same building. Like, so that was one of the cases where it was worth to rebuild a certain part of the wing so that there was a bedroom for the son to be close to the parents. That is where I draw the line. So there's two sides of Feng Shui. One is form Feng Shui, which is all about the actual environment, the energy, the physical stuff around you. The next one is compass Feng Shui, where we look at things like your date of birth, your kind of horoscope type of things, numerology. So to put it in a more easily understood way, form Feng Shui is like understanding your environment. Compass Feng Shui is understanding you. Because the environment may be such and such, but different people might respond to the same environment differently. So they do come together. I look more at the environment and I can tell people, oh, this is definitely the best way to put your bed. But maybe you have a certain kind of taste or preference which may not lead to that. Then we can understand you. So compass Feng Shui is Feng Shui's way to predict that based on your elements and your date of birth and stuff like that. My whole thing is very architectural. Like even if you read my book, is different from other Feng Shui books because mine is really about the space and the arrangements. And what I learned is that that's also something that a lot of my followers appreciate more of, because like many of my followers are actually non-Feng Shui believers. They always thought it was just superstition or something until they realize that there's actually something about it. I acknowledge that compass Feng Shui is still very important because it is about understanding your character, your personality, and how that affects if you are a person with a lot of fire, you don't want to be in a watery environment. There's a lot of depth to that, but it's a bit more difficult to grasp because people come from different walks of life and it doesn't always apply in the same way. You only earn money when your videos are longer than a minute. And I intentionally make all my videos less than a minute. So it's almost like a deliberate choice to not be making money off social media. I have my meetings with my clients, and I have made like an income when I was working. So I'm kind of okay now. I'm not someone who needs a lot of things. So I'm not pressured financially in that sense. I'm happy to do what I'm doing and enjoying the process. YouTube does make money though. To me, it's really more about creating the content. Like nothing gives you more satisfaction than when you create a nice piece and you put it out into the world and you're very satisfied with the creation. So it's a bit like an artist who likes to paint stuff. They get satisfaction not from selling the work, but from creating this thing that makes them very, very happy. So it's a bit like that. Of course, I cannot deny that when there are more views, I'm more excited. Like, oh yeah, it's doing really well. Sometimes I get a bit disappointed when I put a lot of hours in the video and it doesn't get as much a response as I hope. One way to overcome that is to realize that even if you got 100 views, it's still 100 people appreciating your stuff. If 100 people came into the room right now to say thank you, that would be overwhelming, isn't it? So it's only 30,000 people, just 100 is good enough. Each of them is a person. And that's why even till this day, I still reply all my Instagram messages one by one, because behind all of yes, I get 100 messages a day, but each of these messages is a person with feelings and their own problems, and they want to approach you. They take the courage to message you. Social media always comes with negatives too. You have haters, people saying negative things. Fortunately, I didn't get so much of that, but sometimes when someone says a negative thing, you have to understand as well, why do they say it? Like, they have bad experience. And when you start to understand from their point of view, you realize that, okay, like, it's valid. It's a valid point. And then you feel less bad about it. Oh, that's a big question. I thought about it and I didn't have an answer. Like, I'm happy with what I'm doing right now. The curse of gaining so much insight from people that you see is that you start to realize, like, what is the point of everything? Like, people with big giant homes, people with small rooms, none of them are actually happy. They all have their own set of life problems and things like that. And so you start to think, okay, what is it that one would want, and I can't answer that. I'm happy where I am. I can't say that, oh, if I make a ton of money I will be happier. No, because I see people who make a ton of money with giant homes and they're not happy, and I see like people living my dream life and they're not having a dream. So it's a very philosophical question, as you say, and kind of hard to answer, but I am happy where I am to carry on and see where things take me.